Hello, hello.
Yo, what up?
What it do? Sunday night
Hello.
casting.
That,
Hello.
you can
Yep,
hear
can you
me
hear me?
clear?
Yep, I can hear you. Yep.
I guess these headphones don't work because I'm talking straight on the phone, straight out of
Straight
town.
to the gym.
All right, here we go. It's we are doing a podcast. I'm Aleroart. These are bonus episodes. I have my special guest is on here where we talk about all and everything. And today's episode, we're just BSing with Reef. Hey, Reef, thank you for coming out to the show tonight.
Thanks for inviting me. This is deja vu all over again.
This is deja vu all over again. And if any of the calls drop, I figured out a perfect plug. It's just gonna plug Aleroart.com. So I figure every time you say hello, while you're doing that and we don't hear it, I'm gonna be like, guys, check me out, Aleroart. Pretty good, right?
Yep. You're like, if you can't find me there, catch me on my socials and
There you
yeah.
go. That's it. I got one of that figuring that out when I was eating some chicken and chicken barbecue and broccoli.
Dang, no one likes a bragger, man. No one likes a bragger.
No one does. That is correct. How you doing?
Doing good. I don't like this time change stuff, but
No.
you know, every year I'm like, I'm going to take the week after a time change off.
Yeah.
I don't know why it messes you up for some reason, even though it's like an hour.
Nope. That's it.
There's no point. There's no point to time change, but it's.
Do you feel like you're gonna sleep longer, or you think you're gonna be sleeping less?
I sleep less. I mean, even today, even still woke up, same time or whatever, same time I usually do. So it's all good.
Is this screaming? Do you wake up and howling, screaming?
Always, man. That's the only way to wake up. Ah! Like what? What happened?
Just like that.
Not a dang thing.
I would like to say, me and Reef did a couple of podcasts a bit ago, and if you guys don't know, me and Reef go back like high top fades and Reeboks, Reebok pumps.
Yep.
So
I missed those shoes. Anyway,
what's that?
I missed those shoes. The little pump on the tongue of the shoe.
They don't make those shoes no more. There's a certain kind of plastic that was made by those extinct insects. They had to stop making those shoes. But
funny thing is, I never owned any because I'm broke and cheap, so it's all good.
There you go. Yeah, I always, as a kid, I just thought it made the shoes stand up higher, but it was for the ankle for more.
Like a support,
basketball support. Yeah. So I never understood that, but as a kid, you'd think, oh wow, they make you jump high. Lies.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, that's true. Actually, the other funny thing is like most of the basketball shoes are made to the actual basketball player. That so Michael Jordan's or whatever. So like some of those shoes aren't even good for your feet if you have like a different like arches or whatever. Like something like water feet and all that. Like those aren't necessarily good for you. So I guess I know why people just collect them instead of wear them.
There you go. when you take off the Jordan shoe, does it look like you got glass and it's all cut up? You walk through concrete.
Once again, you're talking to a very cheap man. I've never owned a pair of Jordans ever, so I wouldn't know. These shoes.
these do be facts. But with that being said, one of the things about this episode, just to go over, again, it's more of a BSing kind of episode. There is cursing allowed. It's just having fun with that. I just wanted to talk about some, just like things like what comics and movies and stuff that are you into. I do want to talk about we're losing the Dragon Ball Z Dragon Ball creator, how much he meant to our generation, and we could talk about what was it about that anime that caught our attentions. But all in all, today's episode's all about BSing. So, with that being said, man, I just want to know, like, what are you reading, and what are you like checking out right now?
What am I reading? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know we have this conversation quite a bit actually. The comics is I don't know if there's anything that I'm like every month or whatever, like I have to go get that book or whatever.
Right.
Story wise, I don't know what that is. I don't know if things just got too complicated for me. I'm an old man now, so I'm like all these stories are like above my head. But now it's more like artwork where I'll look at it and like I'll just go to the store and like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Let me check that out for what they're doing.
Has there been a recent comic about a story that stood out? I'm getting at my journalism right now. Has there been one that's for a story wise?
So actually, the one I kind of like. I mean, I only got the first issue of it. I think it's been out for a minute or two, or I don't know what issue they're on. But I picked up that Thunderbolts.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if it's like a remix or a new. I mean, I know that was previously a comic, but like they basically it's got the Winter Soldier is like part of the team and all that. So that stood out to me. I'm trying to see who's the writer on here.
Were you while you're looking for the writer on there, were you a fan of the original series, and was that with the I guess creator or co-writer of X-Force, Nipian
yeah.
Sorry,
to be honest, right? I'm like, R.I.P. name. No, actually, I never read those. To be honest with you, it was what caught my attention. So the writers. So this is. I'm gonna say I don't know any of these people. The writers Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, and then the artist is Geraldo Borges or Borgs.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, so what caught my attention? Who did this cover? What caught my attention was like the cover was pretty much, you had the Winter Soldier on there, and then pretty much a picture of the Red Skull on the ground, and right on there it says the Red Skull must die. So I'm like, okay, that seems interesting.
Oh, that's cool. They're bringing it back to that where they're talking on the cover.
Yeah, so the cover, Terry Dodson was the cover artist on this one.
Oh wow.
So it looked cool. I'm like, all right, like I liked it. It was and not in a disrespectful way, but it was like a simple cover.
Mm-hmm. Nice. That's cool. And while Reef is getting back and just letting me know what's up, he will let me know and just plug in Aleroart. So with that being said,
Aleroart
is back.
Aleroart. I never left, man.
Yeah, it's another one. That's another one. The cover that you spoke about, is it the one where he's like standing over Red Skull, or who?
Yeah. It's the cover. It's Winter Soldier standing over Red Skull. I said not much to the background or anything, just like kind of a yellowish background. You see what appears to be a shot Red Skull, like lying on a pool of blood.
Yes, I see. I'm looking at that picture right now. Wow, that's pretty intense. I am a big fan of Terry Dodson. Him and his wife, they have their Instagram handle, and yeah, just something about his style. Definitely has that cover book illustration style look with the inks and the bold lines and stuff like that. So
yeah,
awesome,
so yeah. I mean, he just did the cover. He didn't do interior, but yeah. But the book, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't really been. It's no book has been like I gotta pick it up every month or anything like that. So it's kind of like what do you call it? Like a fair weather kind of fan, if you will, on stuff.
Okay, I got you.
So yeah, I picked it up. I like the story, and it's basically Winter Soldier getting like a team together that they want to take out the Red Skull. And to me, like the other thing is it's kind of like well, I mean they're I guess well-known characters, but it's kind of like that B list of characters. Like you had the Sharon Carter, was she Agent 13, I think, or I can't remember what her Shield thing was. So she's in it, and then the Russian Captain America, which I'm drawing a blank on his name from.
Right. Isn't it Bear? No.
No, I can't remember. So everyone's like, man, you guys are real comic fans. You don't even know this character's
that's
names.
cool. Why? Because today is about bullshitting. We are bullshitting this episode.
The Red Guardian. There you go. That's
there you go. See, don't discredit yourself, brother. You got this.
Right.
I believe in you. It's a treat.
Yeah, I know. It was pretty interesting. Red Skull's kind of he's always been an interesting character to me. Like I don't. I guess I never understood. I mean, I kind of understood him, but I never understood, I guess you got to give him like special powers so he can like keep on being around, I guess. So that's kind of weird, but I don't know. It's just one of the, it was simple enough story to follow, and I dug it.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much it with that one.
Did it bring it back to like when you were collecting back in the day? For real.
No cap. Yeah, busting.
Busting.
Yeah, I did. It was just kind of like the. I mean, once again, not the Avengers were hunting anyone down or nothing like that, but it had that 90s feel, like that team feel to it, and like okay, like I dug it. Like
that's cool.
So it's just kind of those things. Like if it I don't know. I feel, and this is no in particular, nothing like that. I feel like stories nowadays are like overcomplicated and like too sci-fi. Like I understand, like you got to do different, like things been done and all that. But I'm still of the, even though, like stories are kind of simple. Like to me, where it's just, good guy, bad guy. Here's a conflict. How get over it and all that. But nowadays, I don't even know nowadays. It's been a while. Like characters don't really die. They come back and you're just kind of like, all right, well, what's the point? It kind of loses the, kind of loses meaning instead. Like, if like every character dies and then comes back, it's just like, well, so if a character dies in the story, it had no impact on, like, okay, they'll be back. You don't have any like, oh man, I love that character. They're dead. They're gone, or whatever. Okay. They're like, nah, they came back, and that's I think, and I guess I'm going to tie that to the X-Men comic book, which I said, they got like mutants get resurrected and all that kind of stuff now. The comic book wise, the only reason I brought up X-Men because I saw the. Was it trailer for they're bringing back the cartoon, the X-Men 97 is coming out this month or something. Yeah. I was just kind of like, oh, that's cool. But now I'm kind of wondering, like, is that going to, I mean, I assume it's going to be, they're going to stick to the, original, like the source or whatever, like the 97 cartoons. But
right. It's supposed to take place after, 96. So.
Yeah, so 90. So I'm just kind of like, all right, I guess. I mean, they're, like, I know that probably from what I remember, and I think it might have even been in the trailer. So, but Xavier, he got injured or something, and he took off into space with the Shi'ar Empire. I can't remember the Queen's name or whatever. So
yeah, that was. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I said I remember seeing just like how it was like a blur towards the end of the season and just a couple of notes of how they were just explaining. Like I remember Gambit having different voices, the artwork or the animation looked weird. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff was going a lot and at that time was at 95, 96. But yeah, that was it should be interesting for this 97 routine where they're going.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember too. It was in the 90s too, where they killed off Magneto, but then he came back as like Joseph or whatever. Like he was like a different character.
Yeah, that's right. That's in the comic, yeah.
So once again, like it's kind of like, all right, he's back, and I think even at that point, I kind of fell out with like I'm I don't know. Like I said, I mean, there's cool character. You know, you want your favorite characters, or these badass characters that live forever, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they can, because I mean, it's comic books, so I mean, Superman can fly into the sun and come back, and all that kind of stuff. So why not?
Right.
Some of it just seems like to me, like very generic, kind of like, oh, we need that character back. So now they didn't die. And then let's come up with some weird, not weird, but let's come up with some like very wild technical type of reason of why. No, they didn't really die. Like they only got shot here, but then survived and they were found by something or another. And it's just very like it kind of blew my mind. Like I'm intrigued. Don't get me wrong, but like Kingpin, got shot in the face, but yet he's alive. He got both his eyes. It's kind of like, okay. Once again, awesome character. Love the Kingpin, all that kind of stuff. But it's just kind of like, okay, so, like once again, I'm not a scientist or a doctor or anything, but I'm like, I don't know what the chances are chances are that you get shot point blank in the face and head and you live.
And your eye and your retina is all healed up again, and
like everything's good. So it's kind of like, all right. Like, I mean, once again, like I think from a creative standpoint of like Kingpin, I would say once again, he's a bad guy, but a beloved bad guy character, if you will.
Right.
If you have no intention of like, like, oh, like I love the Kingpin, or everyone, my audience loves him. Like, don't kill him. Like,
wow.
Like that's kind of one of those things of like, if you're gonna bring him back, or that's a major character and everything, like you can, put him in some spot where they almost died, but like, like kind of like that incredible like situation where I'm just like, okay, like I think even if not that you should be asking like school, like little children or anything, but like, hey, if someone got shot, do they die? They're gonna be like, yeah, they died. They're not gonna be like, oh no, they could survive it or whatever.
Nope.
Or I think it's gonna be the same. Like I don't know. Like I said, it's just one of those things where I'm just kind of like, I don't know if it's just like an easy, like, from a business standpoint, like it's just easy money making thing. Like, oh, we're going to kill off this major character.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, all right, that's cool. It means something, right? You killed off this character. But then, like, I don't know how long they wait. Let's say 2 months later, they're like, no, he didn't die. He's back. You're just kind of like, well, that was, I don't know. I guess to me, I feel like, well, you just kind of lied to me, or or misled me. I don't know what word you want to use, where I'm just like, well, I mean, I don't know. Like going back to the 90s, 2000, like when Superman died, like, did you have any initial thoughts of like, I mean, I think there were those that deny him. I'm like, they're not killing off Superman.
Right.
But I think
I thought it was interesting because it was our time era of the early 90s of, wow, who would have? And I speak for myself. When I first heard that, I was awed. I was wild because it was never heard of this iconic character.
Yeah. So with the funny thing, and I remember it's not even like, it's not revisionist history or nothing like that. I remember like, oh, Death of Superman. I kept thinking to myself, like, they're not killing him off. Like, there's no way. I mean, they introduced new characters. I mean, I don't know how new they were in terms of. For me, anyway, it's just like, I don't know who, like, was it the Eradicator Superman guy? Never heard of him. I don't know if he was created just for that story. Then he had the Cyborg Superman.
Oh, yeah.
The John Henry Superman, or Man of Steel, whatever you want to call him. Yeah. And then Superboy, I think he was around before. But, like, I mean, it was just one of like, oh, that's cool. They're introducing these characters. But, like, I don't recall ever thinking, because if I remember correctly, Doomsday killed him, right? Like he fought Doomsday character. Yeah. They fought, but I never took it as he died. I don't know why. It never clicked in my head that he died. I know they kept putting, Death of Superman and all that. But I think, once again, we weren't writing or creating comics at that time. I don't think you were at that time. I could be wrong.
No. I was 12. I was 12, 13 years old. I was trying to just figure out what what does it mean to be an illustrator? Because at that time, all I knew was for artists was to be what is it? An architect. That's what I'm. That's what I was assumed. That's what a job as an artist. But I didn't know you could. I didn't know you could do that until like high school, like meeting a comic artist and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool, man. That's a lot for that. Speaking, we went from Thunderbolt to talking about Superman.
You said this is a BS episode. We're BS,
and it is. It totally is a BS episode, and I'm loving it. It's really cool. Once again, I'm Aleroart, and shout outs to my special guest today is Reef. So I'm looking at the list of things that I wanted to ask and question. Let's see. Special guest wrote that. Did you do your laundry today? Check mark. But yeah, I guess what the next thing I ask is, you in your own rights with your art, what you read, does it reflect what you make?
Ooh,
that's a good one.
Man, where'd you steal these questions from? That's deep.
I ain't steal nothing.
Nothing.
G unit.
Yeah. So I got a weird, or I call it weird, in that I'm sure it does, maybe subconsciously somewhere it does, but to me, I get motivated by anyone doing anything. That doesn't even have to be art or storytelling. Like, so if if I know someone that's in a band or you're doing some other, like something I'm not even familiar, like even knitting or croquet, like just something productive or something creative or something like that motivates me to do stuff. And it's not a competition thing or nothing like that. It's just like, oh crap, I should be making something is what I get. So I'm going to say, yes, it does motivate my own art in that it's just like, hey man, you should be doing something.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm sure there's some subconscious, like, oh, I saw this, so let me draw my stuff like that. I'm not gonna say there isn't that, but for the most part, it's just like I said, like, once again, like that Thunderbolts I read, I'm like, oh, that's a pretty cool story and all that. Let me go draw something.
Yeah.
Let me go do something. Once again, not necessarily related. Once again, it's probably all subconscious, but for sure, it does have an effect when you see a good movie or read a good book or just, oh, that's an awesome painting or something. You're like, man, I want to do something. Like it's that's the effect those things have on me.
I'm awesome.
I'm sure you get that same way. You get that excitement of just like, oh man, that's cool.
I totally relate on that. I use my Sundays as a form of just recharging. Rather, I'm walking around downtown Chicago, looking over at the art supply store. If I find something at the art supply store, or back to walking into the comic shop, sometimes I'm not picking up books. Sometimes I get books, and I'll just go through a stack of books or a trade, and I got some ideas. And sometimes I have my sketchbook at hand, listening to some music. My stuff varies from rock to rap. Do you have anything particular with music that influences you there? Is that's something? I'm like you. I listen to everything except for country. Country music is depressing, so no country here. Hey man, leave the country music alone. Nah, I'm joking.
And once again, nothing for you country loving fools out there, but no, thank you. It's just very depressing when I'm and I think you're the same way. One, there's the actual, like, just the music part where, like, oh, this is a good beat, all that kind of stuff. But I'm also like, I find myself, I like lyrics. So I like songs that have, like, I can decipher, like, the meanings and stuff or like that. Or it's like, oh, this song's about this. And so, like, that stuff will get me too, where just, like, it's not, this sounds like I'm disrespecting someone, but I'm like, it's not the greatest music wise or beat or anything like that. But I'm like, man, these words are crazy. Once again, but it's still, that's a great song in my opinion. Like the words, I'm like, oh man, check out this this messaging here. Or like, oh, they're talking about this, or this is, they're singing about this, but it's about that. I don't know, like that stuff. Like I could listen. Yeah, I could listen to just about anything. Like I said, except for country. You guys can't convince me otherwise. Currently,
and
I think I brought that up. I don't know what you categorize. I'm thinking that Teddy Swims guy.
okay.
So he's a singer. Let's see what they R&B and soul.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they American singer-songwriter. But what I like about him, and this is once again one of those motivational things, is I found him from people doing like that TikTok, YouTube, like kind of collaboration where they take a song and then they're singing a part of, like they're recording them singing a part of it.
Yes.
And recording it. They got a standard video of that. But the cool thing about that, so that's how I initially found him.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing about that, he's reposting it, he's putting it on his social media, and then like he's putting it on his YouTube channels, or he loves it. So I've seen him someone on the street performer singing and stuff. He does a duet with them. Like there you go. There you go. I'm like that's cool. That's very cool.
That's awesome.
Cool aspect. But yeah, that's currently stuck on him. But like I can go from him to like some heavy metal. I could go old school like Iron Maiden, or and I come back to hip hop. Method Man or whoever. So it's just it's one of those things too. I'll say this, like even like in my job, like I like having music playing in the background. Like I just need that as I don't know what you would call that. I say motivator.
Distraction?
Yeah, distraction. I mean, I'm still working, but like it's just playing in the background. So it's just, I guess so. I'll put it this way: it's not for like sleeping, but people that use like the fans or white noise to go to sleep, like they need that kind of thing to help them focus. Is how I look at it.
That's cool.
So
yeah, guys, I remember when Reef would say in college he would have how do you say it? You would have music playing. You're writing a paper and the TV's on, and your roommates will walk in and say, "What the hell are you doing?" kind of deal.
Yeah,
you're like, getting my work done.
And he would get mad too, because sometimes I think maybe once or twice we had the same class.
Yeah. And
he'd get like, a C or D, and I'd get like an A or a B, and he's just like, "How the hell are you doing that?"
Mm-hmm.
Just like, I don't know. Okay. Like it's just an odd thing. Like if I went to the library, I couldn't focus. Like it's too quiet.
No.
Shout out to libraries though; they're a great place for books and all that kind of stuff for learning. But actually working there, like doing schoolwork or work at library, I could do it. The silence is deafening, if you will. So.
Yeah. I got you. That's cool. And for so we got to talk about music. Any movies, any TV shows that you like? Hey, I got to follow the series, or can't wait till this sequel comes, or just anything in general that you just like lately.
Man, what have I been watching? I think like it's funny because like you get to ask the question and then you forget all about it. Yeah. Let's see. Well, I mean, anime, kind of got back more into watching anime again.
Nice.
That I think I made you watch an episode too. That Fire Force one. Because I was like, oh crap, because obviously, we're here in America, in the United States and everything, so we get a delay of anime stuff. So like, like whatever anime you want to say, it already came out in Japan, Europe, and all that before it ever hits here. So I always feel like we're like a year or so delayed. Plus, we're getting the dubbed version, which I mean, understandable, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like I was just like, oh crap, another season's out. So I had been paying attention to that kind of stuff. So I've been definitely anime, and you brought it up earlier, Dragon Ball, rewatching some of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a very that would be, I think, the majority of stuff I'm watching. Movie wise, I don't know if there's any. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that one, but I try to watch. So I'm kind of interested to see that second Dune movie.
Okay.
Disclaimer: I never read any of the books, so I don't. It's kind of one of those. I don't have. So if you're like, "Oh, those movies suck" or whatever, I'm like, "Hey, if you say so, I have nothing to compare it to." I just think visually they look cool. Some of the story is kind of confusing for like that first one. I'm just like, but watched it and I'm like, oh, look good and everything. Let me go research it to see what any of this means. So yeah, I've been hearing about the second one.
You didn't watch the first one, correct?
I did watch the first one, but I know. So I think if I had known about like the whole like I'll say setup of it, like characters or like the I'll say politics or the world building of it.
Yeah.
I think I would have been like watching. I was like, that's cool, but like if you're like, what happened? I'd be like, I don't know. I mean, looking back at it, I could tell you like, oh, okay, this because once again afterwards I looked it up. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I wish I would have known it. I guess like those have like I don't know how many books, like 20 books on it, and I don't know when it originally came out, but like I said, like visually, it looks good, and, actors I like and all that kind of stuff. But I know what movie I really liked. I think I tried to push you to watch it. Was that soccer movie Next Goal Wins?
Yeah, you're telling me about that.
Yeah, so I watched that. It's like it's a comedy, but I didn't know to the end that it was based on a real story. And then they showed like the actual real people, like that the characters were playing, and I was like, oh, this is even cooler. Like that story had like, it's a comedy, it had a lot of heart to it, and I'm just like, man, this is a good one.
Yeah.
So that's one of those. I'll say that I gotta watch that again. That's how much I liked it. Where I was just like, oh, this is cool, this is funny, and it's not one of those things either that's like, oh, you gotta be a soccer fan or necessarily know about soccer to enjoy it. And like it just happens to be like that's the sport they're playing, if you will.
Okay.
So yeah, and I don't know. Like I think so Michael Fassbender. That's how you say his name. Magneto, young Magneto.
Yeah.
He was pretty much. There might have been maybe two other actresses I kind of knew, but not like if you're like, hey, what movies were they in? I couldn't tell you other than Magneto.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I liked it, man. I kind of like those. I'm kind of one of those like I don't know like any of these people. I'm in that stage where I'm starting to like things better now.
That's cool.
Because I like big wrestling fan. Like I go to a local wrestling show. I don't know any of the stories. I don't know any of the characters, any of that stuff. I could just watch it and be entertained by it. Like I don't have any thing of like, oh, they're supposed to be this, they're supposed to be that, or this guy's a jerk. Like, nah, just watch them do their thing. I've been enjoying that lately.
Okay.
I think anything, movies, all that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
It's just I don't know. Like I said, and I'll blame social media for that one. We're just like, man, okay, I don't. Like.
Is it one of those things where like social media shares too much? And you're like, you know what, I gotta step away. Is that what you mean by that? Like that kind of deal?
Well, yeah. So it's like, so I'll say like sports. Like I don't really watch any sports.
Right.
And I used to, right? I used to watch football, basketball, all that kind of stuff. But like the toxicity of quote unquote the fan base. It what got me where I was like, man, like I'm just trying to watch, a game, man. Like I'm not the one, like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm a hometown guy, like, love any Chicago team, whatever they're playing. I want them to win. Yeah. But, these people are all bad mouthing it and, this and that and, players or whatever. Don't get me wrong, I'm mad if they lose or something. Not mad, but like I'm disappointed that they lose. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, it's just a game.
But when they win, but I like the audience to know this, and it's really freaking hilarious. Is I agree with Reef on this because this is brought up a lot. Whenever we hear somebody say, "Yeah, we won last night," no, you didn't win last night. The team won. You got to stop saying that you won this, or man, they did really bad. And oh man, it's like you didn't play the game, dude. You just
Yep.
it's that kind of mentality.
It's why we won. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like
you didn't do any of that. So
nope. Like, well, the funny thing too, yeah, I don't know. Maybe what do they call it? Not tribalism, but it's like they're just trying to be like we're in it together or something. Like,
yeah.
I mean, me sitting here eating popcorn, watching it, not contribute anything to them.
Nope.
So
that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, even to get away from sports, but you see that with movies. You got, you see the people like they gotta be the first one to be like, I watched this movie, it was great, or I watched this movie, it sucked, or that's not what it's supposed to be, and it's just kind of like, man, could I just, go something with low? Like to me, it's like if I go something, I'll say with low expectations.
Yes.
I don't know anything, and like more than likely, not gonna be disappointed. So
yeah. That's very interesting. Wow, that is something that's there to be said with people like being the what you would call like the CNN, and you're like, hey, I'm trying to watch this with fresh eyes to watch this, and then right away everybody has that opinion of saying this is gonna suck. And what was the one that was like Rotten Tomato that they said it was gonna be bad, but ended up like doing really well? It was like last year, the before was Super Mario Brothers.
Yep.
They gave it a bad review, and you go and watch it for yourself, and you're like, man. Again, I speak from my perspective, and I know you say the same thing. It had all these cool, what's the word? Throwbacks. They had those.
They definitely
those Easter eggs.
Yeah, Easter eggs, and they had the what is that word? It's basically they hit all, like if you I'll say fond memory. I can't think of the term, but like they hit your fond memories of playing Super Mario Brothers, right? Like
yes.
Like as you're a kid, you're playing Super Mario Brothers, you remembering all the fun stuff, and like, oh, that's a cool reference. There's the Easter egg. They hit off of that. Plus, I think the smart business thing too is that they got a younger audience too. I said, my niece, she's big into Super Mario's now, and she just first, second grade. Man, I'm a bad uncle. I can't remember what grade she's in because I don't know the age things, but. It's one of those like, oh, you like I remember, went to go visit. So I love Super Mario Brothers, and she's playing it, on the Switch or whatever. I'm like, this is cool. And that was funny is her enjoyment of Super Mario Brothers got me to play it. I got that the last game or whatever, Wonders, or I think it's called.
Right. And what's funny is to say that is I know this when we put this up, it's going to be a couple of days later, but today is Super Mario Day, so it's all full circle.
Yeah, and that's one of those things too, where man, it's the longevity of something that was, lack of a better term, and not disrespect matter, so simple of a story. Yes. Like Mario Brothers should not have. If you're like creativity and all that shouldn't have caught on, but here we are with how many more generations of kids like loving it and playing it. It's just like, that's wild to me that they can essentially keep the core of what it is and then, just grow from there without going too crazy.
No, it's true. And I think it's funny when critics jump in and say, well, that's not his voice and that this and that, but I know this is going to be hard for people to swallow this. Pause. But you have to remember, like, that wasn't, this isn't your Mario Brothers anymore. This isn't your Turtles. This is for this generation. It's, ideally you should look at this new stuff with open eyes, accept what you had back then, but you can't argue with, I really feel like when you mention your niece loving the Super Mario, and that's very cool and sweet, I could see an elderly man. No, I could see a guy like in his 30s and 40s and say, no, that wasn't it because it wasn't, what's his name? Captain Lou Albano as Super Mario. And we got to tell them, like, no, that was our back in the day. We have to let, I thought, was it Chris? I thought he did a good job at that. But I believe it's the story and, what a lot of stories in writing and stories in movies and stories in shows and stories in comics, some lack. And I thought that was cool when the odds were, it's going to get a bad review, and bam, you see it. You're like, holy schmolies, this is cool. And speak for myself, the Easter eggs and these little tidbits that I tilt my head. That's my kicker. I like books, movies, and all that when it makes you turn your head and say, did they just do what I just seen them do? Or
right.
you see. Sorry for you guys that haven't seen Mario, but it's more than a year too late. But when they show the restaurant and it's decked out in Punch Out, and you're like, and me, and I know you as well, being a Punch Out fan, you're like, whoa, that's right. Mario is connected with the Punch Out world, and it's like, that's so cool. But for the kids, if they're, they don't have that parent to tape, they like, Glass Joe and this and that, they're not going to know that. But I think that was like a cool, put some respect on this, where they showed those homages and stuff like that, or even giving, Donkey Kong more of like a voice or a power. Because the other part is when I walked out the theater watching that was, hey, wow, Donkey Kong, had the firepower and his hair turned colors, and it's like, that's cool. So it was one of those things where it opens the door more. So back to the point of saying, it's like, it's not it should be this way. A lot of these critics just, you should just accept it. They say, hey, if the original Turtles or the Go Ninja Turtles type deal was your jam, let the next generation have it, where you could, they do that, and vice versa with comics and movies and stuff like that. It's that thing of accepting, but it's right. you're fighting a wrong battle. And again, today's episode's about, we're just bullshitting. So again, this is one of those things where enjoy. So with that,
he's not swearing.
No. I said it. It's today is it's called B.Sing with Reef, and I'm the host, Aleroart, and got Reef here right now. We're just talking about comics, movies, inspiration. I'm going through a list, and I'm just having a good time with that. And as always, I appreciate when we do talk, because it sounds like we do podcasting all the time, not on a podcast, but our conversation go like that. But this is always a good treat to be doing it. By no means this is the end of the show. It's just, I'm just very appreciative of us just going through talking about that. One of the things that Reef and I, if you guys see us at comic shows, he's there and he has his own creator-owned characters, and he probably brought it up in previous podcasts, but one more time, Reef, what are your characters and what are you working on right now with them?
Right. Yeah, you can, on Instagram mostly you can find me, Reef Musalam.
There you go.
So character-wise, I think the number one dude, Trash Panda.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Leroy, alien guy, and then Terwilliger, the
awesome
dolphin character. They all. It's kind of funny and I think you might relate to this too. Is that they came just having fun? Like
that's good.
Grew them, and they just came out of that kind of. I mean, they grew much like your self-created characters. Like it just grew over time. Of like, all right, I just drew a panda in a trash can. Which the origin of it was there was a comment made at a wrestling show that had me laughing, and I just ended up drawing. The comment was, I have still written down because it was laughing me. Someone goes, that trash panda had it coming.
There you go.
And I just thought that was the funniest thing. So then I just drew a panda in the trash can, which funny enough, I had no idea that meant raccoon when I drew it.
Right.
When I heard it, I'm just like, okay, why is a panda garbage can or whatever? But anyway, so I drew it. It was just funny. It just stuck. Then over time, you just start thinking creatively of what if what if my character did this, or what would they if they look like this, or what if that kind of stuff. You just start doing it and you start messing around with it, and then as most artists and stuff would hope, people catch on like, oh, that's pretty cool, or that's pretty fun, and that's a motivation to keep going. I mean, overall, for me, I still feel like you're drawing and creating stuff for yourself first.
Yes,
that's the successful stuff right there. That's everyone you see is, even if they're working for a major company or whatever, is they're I mean, and everyone should get paid for their stuff. They're still doing it for like that self-fulfillment or entertainment or joy or whatever. So but I don't know. I think it's wild because thinking back on it now, it's just like if you told me actually, or they even told you like 20 years ago, like, hey, Trash Pan is going to have its own hot sauce. I don't think. I mean, I'd be like, what? I'm like, yes. Yeah. I mean, I'd say I would doubt myself. I'm like, I guess. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's wild. Yeah. But cool. It's just one of it's stuff that's I think from and also from creative standpoint, you got to stick to the why not mentality of like, oh, okay, why not? Let's see what happens.
Yeah. What do you have to lose? And I know we go back and forth with conversations of like, I think I like to put it as the spark isn't there when they say, why didn't you think that way? Because they don't think outside of that box. So when somebody else will hear you say, oh wow, hot sauce, they're like, they would never think of that. And that is pretty cool. And to try it. And if it doesn't work out, well, hey, guess what? Back to the drawing board. Go back and you have them in apparel, and what else do you have them have?
We got pins, patches. Who would have thought to have a giant flag?
You got a flag, yeah.
Yeah, what's wild, you had many conversations on this kind of stuff before, but like with the whole print on demand and everything.
Yes. Why not, right?
You have the why not, and then your possibilities are pretty much endless of, before, back in the day, everything is money out your pocket. Like, okay, I gotta make, I gotta go to a printer and I gotta pay, whatever amount of money to get like 20 t-shirts made.
Yeah.
And they're stuck with me, or I have them until I sell them.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Or something. Now everything, with the, shout outs to the digital age of everything, where everything is print on demand, is available online, and you're setting up stuff. You can get these things that before would have cost you, just random number, $500. Now it's just just pretty much costing you time, because now you have these companies that you just put up a file. You lay out a shirt or whatever item you want, and put it on your site. Someone goes, clicks the button, and they're doing all the work for you. And they got all the inventory.
Yeah, and it's no holding inventory, and as well as you're cutting out the middleman, which I think that's one of my campaigns of letting people know it's we all want to be published, we all want to be part of the big two. If that's not happening, what you want to do is just put it out there. There's so many ways of your platform, your social media, and that's what it is. I go back to, that's me standing on top of a soapbox of saying, it's like, if you can't do that, then why not crowdfund it? Why not get that out there? Why not podcast, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not just do that?
Like to say, look, you got a podcast here.
Right. And there you go. And it's, so as much as self like promoting it on that, you're just trying to get people to see that they could do that too. I'm always for competition. I'm very confident in myself. Do you feel like that when you look at things out there, like, oh, that's cool, oh, that's interesting, and would you agree? It just makes you want to. Back to your conversation earlier today, it makes you want to do more, right?
Yeah, it's a weird. Like, I don't. It's gonna sound very weird, but like, I don't feel like I'm a competitive person. Maybe on jokes, like we're going back and forth, making fun of each other or something like that. Yeah, for sure. Competitive in that nature, but like it's for fun. But
ding.
Yeah. I think
shout out to rest in peace, Carl Weathers.
Right. I didn't hear no bell. Yeah.
There you go. Ding.
Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting because I think it was, I don't know how many years ago it was that I believe it's comedian Kev on stage.
Yeah.
He had it was like, I don't know, like a YouTube video or a short or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was in this instance he was talking about he used podcasts or whatever. Yeah. I don't care. He's like, I don't care if there's a million podcasts. Do your podcast.
Yes.
Like it just blew, and it's always stuck in my head. And I mean, not even gonna lie, I got goosebumps now thinking about when he was saying that. It was just like, I don't care. There's like, whatever, 10 million podcasts about, comic books or creating art or whatever. Do your podcast.
You want to hear your perspective. Your perspective on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like the interesting thing too is like, I'm not obviously not a comedian or a professional comedian or anything like that, but like, I don't think he would care if I'm doing like that other people are doing like comedic podcasts. He just wants people to do stuff. Like they're not a competition per se, other than I think, and I'll say that I believe for us too, is just to make yourself better. Right. So we're creating stuff and I see, do whatever, alley cat piece or whatever. I'm like, oh crap, that's cool. And now once again, I'm competing with you type of mindset of like, oh, I got to do better than you. It's just like, no, I got to do something too.
Yeah. and that's the thing. I think that's there's a lot of misconceptions because a lot of no conversations are brought up back and forth with, I say in the community, whether it be in the comic or, and again, I'm just throwing these out there, but it's like everyone feels like you're not approachable in that sense. Right. And I'm using that as an example. Like when doing shows, I'm always like to think I'm approachable. You're approachable. Guys, he's my brother from another mother. He's there. If you need to talk to somebody, even if you guys are looking at doing podcasts, he's always trying to edit stuff I do. I don't really care about my podcast like that.
He likes to hurt me in that way. No.
That's right. Yeah, that makes my brother cry. He gives it, man. Nope, just leave it as is because this is all natural.
You want those type of dudes.
But that being said, I think that's that type of deal of like wanting to open up to people, but you let them know like, hey man, we're out here same as you are, but our I guess in communities, whether it be music or the comic or the different arts or whatever, it's everybody's like tight-lipped about it. And I don't know if that comes off as a sign of arrogance or if it comes off as a sense of like, I'm better than you. But it's really weird. It's like the joke in my head is like, oh, I didn't know you spoke. Well, you didn't, you didn't say hello or I'm approachable. And I think that's a like a miscommunication. I wish that stigma was not a thing, but that's everywhere. And it's like everybody has like that chip on the shoulder, and they're like, we do have these social media platforms where you could see when people look at your work. You could see that in the stories and Instagram, and you could see this and that. And I think it's interesting. I can get over 100 people looking at a picture, but I'll get like 4 people like, yo, I like what you did. And I do the head tilt like a puppy dog, like, yo, man, are you looking? Are you sporting? Whatever. But, I guess that's just our environment. We're not gonna open up and tell people that. And if you give people the answer, it's like backwards world. It comes off as you being weak. And then you're like, no, man, I'm confident. Whatever anybody sees what I'm working on right now, trust me, I'm already working on like 2 or 3 other things ahead of time. And it's not being that way, but you should be should always have that extra one in the chamber just to be doing that. And I'm like that. I would like to think people, have that too. But everybody's like, really gripped at things, and it's like, all right, well, this works for me. It should work for you. But unless you ask me, I'll let you know. But I'm not gonna go and I just let people know just to be approachable. And I think you're cut from the same cloth. And when people do get to meet Reef at these shows, they're like, "Oh, wow, he is a nice guy." I go, "Well, never said he wasn't." I mean,
you never say anything nice about me, to be honest. No.
Don't touch his food. That's his, because he'll cut you. So
we can go pretty style with that. No.
Yeah, but I think that's that sense of that being a character. And again, like I said, today's podcast, my special guest, Reef, we're just BSing, we're bullshitting on just talking about things that we're influenced by, what are things that we are creating, what are we doing. Do you feel like, and I'm gonna sound like Beavis and Butthead when I say it, is like, do you feel like you're making a difference when you are creating your own character in that sense?
I would say yes, but I would say selfishly for myself.
Yes,
for sure, right? Like it's I don't know. It's very odd, because I guess it depends on who you're talking to. Go back to the how people are. Because I feel real quick, it's kind of like everyone kind of acts like this is like SpongeBob and it's the Krusty Krab, and then Plankton trying to steal the secret recipe and all that kind of stuff, instead of just doing it. Make his own burger or whatever. He's just trying to basically steal, but there's a lot of customers and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that makes any sense, but from a creative standpoint, I don't know, it's interesting, because I'll say it, entertaining for myself, right? So I think it makes a big from creative, mental health, all that kind of stuff. It's cool. Yeah. But then you actually get responses or meet people at shows and all that stuff, and they're talking about how they love this and that, and they're asking you questions about, or they bring up something, and you're like, wow, this, and not to say that things don't mean that much to yourself per se, but you're like, I didn't look at it that way. That's crazy.
Right.
So
right.
I think so. I think it's one of those, and this is going to sound derogatory to myself, but I got a lot of self-confidence, so I'm not even, when I say this, but I'm always just like, well, if I can do it, you can do it.
Exactly.
If this schmuck can have trash pan on a t-shirt or a flag or whatever you want to put them on, then you could do it. But I think, I think it's interesting in that I feel like and I'm gonna throw you in there, self-reflect. I'm like, man, I did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of crap here. You don't know you're doing it until someone points it out. At least in my case, and I'm sure maybe you too. You're doing stuff, right? But you're not thinking of the whole totality of it, all of it together. Oh crap, I did, 10 murals or something. You're not thinking about it. You're like, I just did a mural. In your head, what's the next thing? And I think I've said that before. I know, this is Reef on life coaching. I'm like, hey man, you gotta stop, take a break, and appreciate what you got done.
Yeah.
Because that to me is one of those there's probably even a lot of people or audience or fans or whatever you want to call it, that you don't even know that you're just man, they think your stuff's the greatest, some level. So I'd say it makes a difference, even if you don't think about it. But the most importantly for yourself, I would say yes. But then the other thing is I would hope there's that spark of oh man, this dude's doing something. I want to be doing something too. I hope that when I get that from other people, that the people get that from me as well. I'm this dude's doing something, so I got to do something.
That's that's true. I think that's a healthy. I think that's a healthy way without not having that. By no means it comes off as it does not come off as envious. It just comes off as you want to. And I think we as human beings should have that sense, but it sucks that we have that that root of like jealousy and like, oh man, or how many, books or whatever, or how many pages were you given? And it's like, dude, I did a page, and they're like, oh, they used your page, or I'm just saying this is an example. It's not true, but it's just like, you hear that kind of that conversation. You're like, man, why have such that animosity? And I think that's one of the things. What I think is, to my point is that I think what's cool about Reef is like, he's like, all right, cool. If you guys don't dig it, then screw it. I'll go back to working on what I'm supposed to do. And I think the important of having your creator, and speaking on having a creator own, is no one's not going to tell this guy a trash panda, how to draw it or whatever. You can't, because that's your character. And I say like that with my creator own characters. It's like, no, I have this vision. This is who he represents, or that person represents. And I think that's we need that more in these. We always try to push creator owns, and even if it's like from the young at heart as kids or as an adult, you're like, something about it is people kind of like freeze up on that. And I think for you always had that. Though Reef is a grown man, he has that innocence of like seeing something and accepting, because that's like that a lot of people lose. And I think Picasso brings up stuff like, he mentioned that in a quote. It's like, all kids are artists until they grow up. And when you grow up, you're like self-doubt, or you had envy or jealousy and that stuff like that. And I think Reef has that character of him that he's just like, I just got to do this.
Yep.
But,
yeah, for sure. I think funny enough, Picasso's my mom's favorite artist. But
and they have it at the Art Institute going on right now. It's going on till next month, but it's all his pencils.
Nice.
And it's totally encouraged to see it. And if you guys see the plaza downtown Chicago, where it's the
Daily Plaza. Yep.
Yeah, it's they have the sketches of that. And is it a bird or is it a woman? I still don't know, but
I'm just like, whatever it is. I think the cool. It's good, Picasso. It's just, man, it's whatever you want it to be.
That's it. And I think that's subjective of art in general. It's like, what do you make it to be? Like, people ask, is Alley Cat a boy or a girl? I go, well, and this is what my students. I said, well, what do you think it is? And then it gives them the sense of like they could be creative too. Because to me, I know other adults will say, no, it has to be this way. And you're looking at them, you're like, man, why do you got to be like that? It's
right.
You want them to be encouraged to do your own stuff. And that's that part when we talked about in movies, like a 40-year-old arguing with a little kid. They're like, no, the princess should not be a hero. No, the princess could be the hero. And that would be awesome to see then. It's like, you're so used to has to be this way, but everything's been done in this canvas. Why don't you try on the empty spot and let's, switch it up. So I don't know. I think like that. I think in the sense of like, if you guys want to see Alley Cat, different design, whatever, then color it. But, my character's there is just as a template, but if it motivates you to do something, if it motivates you to make a sticker, if it makes you, I talk with a lot of people at shows, and even as a teacher, interacting with other teachers and the parents, it's like, this is just, I'm very fortunate to have something that has people come back and say, hey, I made this too. And I've witnessed you telling me that in your story with your characters. And is there something in general that you're like, that's pretty cool, like gets them to make something? Do you relate to that? Do you have any stories like that where people are like, you made something and they got to do it too, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't try to think of like specific, but I don't know if there's anything specific, but like I know the one that Tom kid we both knew, and I call him a kid because we met him. I don't know how old he had to been, like 9, 10.
Yeah, and he's an artist in his own right now. So shout out to Tom.
Like he kept showing up to conventions. Like we first saw him, I believe, was Gurney Mills, which is I don't know, like an hour north of Chicago. Well, probably not an hour, but traffic, we'll say an hour. But and he's just like, like a mom came up with him. He's like, I like your style, and he's asking questions. and all that, and by no means, I'm not like Tom did it all on his own, but it's just like, man, I was a part of that. Of like this kid talking to me, and he's just like, "Oh, you guys are cool. let me keep going." So like, I think that's one of those, like I look at it like, that's cool, man. Like this, he basically learned, I think, and we're from. He's like, man, I didn't learn nothing from those guys. Just kidding, but you just kind of learn, like, it's just like, hey, man. Yep, definitely not me. Yeah, it was like twice. He's
those
like,
odors.
Yep, he's like, man, but I do know where to get good food from. But
that's all it is.
No, but I think he learned, and I think this is one of those proud things of like he learned from us. It's like, hey, man, just do it. Don't matter. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's kind of like I've had, I'm sure you run into a lot where you have your quote unquote critics or like, why'd you do that? Or,
right.
This or that. And I mean, I had one of my character, that Aleroart character, or just lady was just like, why did blah 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 and all that. I'm like, I mean, if you know me, I'm cool with criticism. Like that don't bother. Yeah. It doesn't bother me. And, like if it's cool if it's constructive. Of like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying, or
yes,
not that. This is what I say, and this is my disclaimer. If you do talk to me about anything, is just like, hey man, this is what I would do, but you could do, like, you're not gonna hurt my feelings to be able to do what I recommended or anything. But that ain't gonna bother me none. I just feel like my job is like, hey, I see you're doing this. What if you do this?
Right.
Like, I think that would work better. That's it. Like, if you do it, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool too. Because once again, it doesn't affect me one way or the other. I did my job.
Whatsoever.
Yeah. So, the latest, I forgot what she was going on about or whatever. But then the next day, he's like, oh, why didn't you tell me to shut up? And, like she was feeling bad or something. I'm like, I was bad about nothing. Like, that was your opinion. Like, I don't.
Yeah, that's it. And art is you critique you're basically like, I did the work already. This is for you. This is for the world to, you guys are the critics, and for you guys to accept. I'm already working on, and I go back to that, and I include this into what you're saying right there is, yeah, cool. I'm already working on the next thing, or working on the next project. So, no, that's awesome, man. We got some good things that we had talked about in today's episode of bullshitting with Reef, and I do have this underline, so it does come off more of like just talking about as we get closer to the end of the show, because this is a really good one, Reef. I don't know, how do you feel? You feel we talked about some funny stuff, some cool stuff?
I don't remember half the stuff I said 2 seconds ago, so we did. If you didn't like it, I don't care.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
No, it's all good. I mean, this is other than he had written down questions, this is pretty much like our normal conversations we have all the time.
It's pretty much, and it's like these could be used as these podcasts when we're going back and forth. But yeah, I had a really great time just interacting and just BSing on this. And again, these are just fun stuff just to talk about on the podcast. But yeah, like I said, I have this outlined and like asterisks and everything like that. But I guess we got to talk about the part of now is we got to talk about some Dragon Ball, because I have to say it because it includes you in there too. Is we practically grew up on this, so we're we're in our 40s, but back in the 80s, this is when this came out, Dragon Ball, and then later on Dragon Ball Z. The great late Akira Toriyama is his name, who just passed away. So I guess with that being said, and I'm parting like the lines on the picture of just what we're talking about is what got you into Dragon Ball, and do you remember what you watched as we talk about Dragon Ball? What's your Dragon Ball related story? How did you get into it, and what was it?
It's wild. I'm trying to think of where I would have caught it first. I'm trying to remember what channel would it have been on, but I think I like what's just funny, and once again, it's going to say I make this comment all the time, and I mean, if you take offense to it, not you, but people out there listening, is pretty much all anime. It's pretty much the same story, just different characters, different settings and all that. But it's basically you got this goofy type of hero character.
Yeah.
Once again, some conflict comes in. Here's this super cool bad guy or villain, and all that. But I think what got me with Dragon Ball and the character of Goku. And actually, we've had this conversation before. Like he's evolved like a lot since that beginning thing. But it was kind of like that. I went, and this is pretty much almost any anime. So, and not to diminish anything, but it was it's that kind of like innocence to the character, but like really what it is like it's pure heart from that character. Of like he's doing stuff where like you'd be like. If you're the pessimistic type or something, like, what the hell is this dude doing? And that kind of stuff. But then, like, holy crap, the underdog, he overcame everything and, saved the day or whatever. So it was just that kind of like, wow, like it's kind of the opposite of, no offense to Superman, but it's like the Superman thing. Like I was never worried, and that's probably why I never equated that Superman died. I'm like, nothing ever beats Superman because like, all right, he's bulletproof, he's this and that, and it's like, okay, like, like it didn't come across that, but like Goku character, he actually died, trained, came back stronger, and all that kind of stuff. So it's that whole persistence and like that pure heartness of that character. So that caught, I think. I love the original Dragon Ball, like just the whole. Once again, he was even more innocent. Like in terms of not knowing how things work, and I mean those were kind of more pervy. The Dragon Ball Z, but like I always had like a lot of humor. Like I just found that funny. Like it was kind of, even though it's perverted humor, it's kind of cute humor at the same time. And then once again, like here's this quote unquote kid at that time, like overcoming the odds, pure heart. Like okay, like once again, like a normal person, like. Oh, this idiot! He did what? He just saved the world, that kind of stuff. So that's what caught me. I think, but the actual Dragon Ball Z, like as soon as you say Dragon Ball Z, time frame, and that's the first like thought that pops into my head of when that came out. Cause this is a big. No offense to Vegeta, but Piccolo was always my character, and he was like the initial villain. Who then and Vegeta, I guess, did that too, where he was a villain, but then they kind of turned into, into a hero. And with him, I don't know what the right term is, but he pretty much fell in love with Goku's son, like to raise him, like it was his kid. Gohan was his kid, so that was one of those crazy like, here's this tough ass guy was a bad guy, but now look at him. Like he would give up his life to protect his kid that's not his type of deal. So it's like there's a lot of pieces and everything, even like all the characters too. There's a lot of characters in the Dragon Ball series where it's like, man, it's kind of one of those weird things because like growing, as you're a kid, you're not necessarily thinking that deep about it. But then the more you reflect on it, you're just like, holy crap. Like this is wild, like what they what they were hitting. How
they were hitting it, where it was like those. I think that's that cool thing. Like I will admit I do like those episodes where it is when with Piccolo training Gohan, the kid was his son Gohan, and you could see like that. What is it from Guardians of the Galaxy with I'm mixing up my words, but when Yondu's taking care of Star-Lord, and he had that relationship, so that was pretty cool. And
the interesting, because even Yondu, he was quote unquote, you look at him like, oh, that's a bad guy, or he's not up to. He's not on the level, like he's always a thief and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, holy crap, what you did, same concept. I agree with that.
Yeah, these are things that are of that. But yeah, okay. So did you? So you're saying more? You got more into it when it was like Dragon Ball Z, correct? Then, or
Yep,
was
I
it
would say
more
yeah.
Dragon Ball?
I would say Dragon Ball Z because that's the first. Like once again, if someone says Dragon Ball, that's my mind goes to Dragon Ball Z. But I do love the young Goku and the Dragon Ball series. Um,
Yes.
so so yeah. Once again, I got those books. I don't know. Like I said, I had more pervy kind of humor in it, but
That's
it was
hilarious.
more. It was, but yet somehow it was more innocent at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So it's not like they. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they crossed some lines. I have no idea. But it was one of those like. I think as a kid reading Dragon Ball,
Hmm.
like you knew it was perverted, but you didn't take it necessarily in that perverted way. If that makes any
Yes.
sense, it was like I
Yeah.
think as a parent, you'd be like, "Oh crap, why did my kid read this?" Or like, "Oh, I can't let him see this," or that kind of thing. But in reality, it's kind of like Goku was acting like how a kid would act. So it was I don't know, like it really stuck to me, and like I think I could be wrong, but at that time, I don't think any other manga or anime looked like Dragon Ball. I could be wrong because unless you could think of something like that, it just stood out. Like it was just different. I mean, now you got a lot of copycat styles, things that are like, oh, that looks like. There's a lot of people that use Dragon Ball as their reference, or they love and they put it into their own story and kind of look. But I think he set the look too. What I'd have to think more about it, but I think it just stood out as it was like totally different. Hulu.
You got that. Yeah. So you were just saying because this could be broken up into a second part of the episode, but if this connects to it, would be dope. But you were saying
Awesome.
about Dragon Ball. That,
You're like something happened with Dragon Ball. Yeah, I was basically saying how the style of Dragon Ball I think stood out to me at the time. Once again, you got to think of the '80s, even
right.
'90s.
Hmm.
My once again in the U.S. here, my exposure to anime and manga was very limited in what I saw,
Yes.
but Dragon Ball style, the characters, how they were drawn, stood out to me as being different from other stuff you would see, on the shelf. Where just like I think the I'll say beauty of it was that I'm a kid. Hey, that's for me type of deal.
Yeah.
Like kind of like Saturday morning cartoons type of stuff. And once again,
That's
like
awesome.
but like it just had that kid vibe to it, even though there's like awesome badass action happening. You
Yeah.
kind of had that for the original Dragon Ball. You kind of had that pervy humor and all that kind of stuff. But I think
Yeah.
the characters stood out too. Like I mean, I was laughing because my kids always laughing like, man, you don't remember anyone's names. And I'm like, no, not really.
Hmm.
But like
Yeah.
Goku, Go, like you can name all of them. It's just wild. It just really stood out to me. That's how that
Yeah. I was gonna say, did you have a standout episode or a favorite saga or a favorite episode or so?
So the one I loved the um when Frieza came into the picture. Um, Once again, there's no, I mean, but that's the way you got to be with everything. Like, well, yeah, this bad, well, would to say Dragon Ball Z. Well, actually, start out with Dragon Ball. You had Piccolo was the bad guy, right? And then you go Dragon Ball Z, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden
Yeah.
you got badass Vegeta coming in, and then it's like they brought in Frieza, and then like to me,
Hey, that was a really fun episode I did with today's guest, Reef. It was a very awesome treat, just BS in general. The episode got cut off where we were just consistently talking, and it was really hilarious. Stay tuned for more episodes of Aleroart, where I'm going to talk more about things in making art in general with comics, and look out for more episodes with special guests. Once again, I'm Aleroart, and please follow on my social media pages as Instagram, X, as well as Facebook, as well as their YouTube. I'm also on Discord and TikTok. So guys, I'm Aleroart. Again, had a great time talking tonight. I appreciate everybody that checks out this YouTube and continues to grow. All right, guys, have a good one and keep being consistent and making art. Peace out.